Now, if you've watched this show before, you know these are colors I'm not Miss Pink person. Okay, here comes a good one. Something unexpected in the shadows. I like to put unexpected things everywhere. I don't know, you ever remember being a kid and playing with the shadows on the wall and doing little birds? Hi, welcome to Give Your Wall Some Soul. I'm Shannon Grissom. This is going to be a total cloud day. We're going to do, the cool thing about clouds is that you get to paint an abstract thing and in a realistic setting. So it's really kind of the best of both worlds. And clouds morph, so if they don't go in the direction that you want, well, hey, they're moving in real world anyway. Well, today, I decided that it would take too long to base coat this canvas in blue. So to get started on these clouds, I thought let's just put in the sky background because it would be boring just watching me do that. I'll do that on another show and show you how to actually get that gradient. But what I did was I started with a dark blue here. I mixed three colors: a dark blue, a medium blue, and a light blue. And I just started at the top and started with the darker blue and just kept blending, and so that until it got to the bottom, it was lighter. And that gives it a sense of space and helps give it a little bit of perspective. I may add a little bit of darker blue over the top to really make that pop, but I knew what would happen is I'd get so involved with the clouds and a little bit with the land below here that we'd never get to that. So that's what we're doing today. All right, so where do you start with clouds? They're just white things, right? Well, they've got tons of color in it. So first I'm going to mix some color to get started. And they're pretty warm. So I'm going to take some white and add a little bit of Cad Yellow Deep, just a little bit. I mean, just a tiny bit on my knife to warm that up. Okay, that looks good. And then I see, I need to make sort of a gray. So I'm going to take some white. Keep moving this table. And a little bit of the ultramarine blue. Everything's really light in value. A little bit of red. And I'm going to leave that alone and make another mixture. But you know what? I can already tell I don't have enough white paint. Got to have a lot of white to get started. Now, it's a good idea to knead this before you squeeze it out so that you don't get just a lot of oil when you pull this out on the tube. All right. We're playing with the paint here. This feels like a miniature painting to me because I've been working on this huge mural. It's 12 feet by 48 feet in this for a corporation called Technova, and it's in their clean room. They wanted to have something really cool for their workers to look at. So I'm painting clouds on this vast surface, which is just what an incredible experience. And so I want to say hi to the people at Technova because they've been really awesome. And I've pretty much invaded their space to do this huge mural, and they've been great. Okay, so when you work on something that's 12 feet, if you can picture that, 12 feet by 48 foot, that's like a big old semi-trailer. That's huge. And then you go work on something this size, it almost feels like a miniature. And there's a sense of scale that you'll develop when you're painting that will just feel natural to you. So certain things you'll want to paint small, certain things will feel better, bigger. Just go with whatever, you don't want to feel restricted, so whatever works for you is good. There's some people that like to only do miniatures, and that's hard for me. I need more space. Okay, so we're going to make a darker gray now. Let's see, we'll take, I got to wipe my knife. I get started and I get distracted. I want to keep the paint up here clean and do my mixes down here. That's the theory. We'll see what happens. All right, so I want to make a gray. I'm going to add some ultramarine blue, some cad red light. Let's see what that does. Might be a little too red. Imagine that. Maybe not, though. Ooh, that's nice. I might cool it down just a little bit by adding some green, just a touch. Do you see that? I can barely put a little on my knife. I'm going to spend a lot of time at the palette initially because I want to get these mixes right before I ever start painting. A little more of this green, I think a little more blue, because I kind of overdid it on the red. Imagine that. I got these books on clouds. Everybody works in series. It's a good thing to work in series because you can really explore your subject. And so lately, that's all I feel like painting is clouds. And I've got these great books on clouds that I've been reading, even field guides, so you can tell whether it's a stratocumulus or a lenticularis. For me, I don't know all of their names. I'll just say that one looks like a dog and that one looks like a toad. That's as far as my identification goes. Okay, so we got some nice gray. I like that. Okay, so how did I get that beautiful gray? I didn't add black and white. I took some ultramarine blue, cad red. I had a little too much of the cad red, but if you do that, you can always cool it down with a little bit of the permanent green. And then I thought it wasn't quite cool enough, so I added a little more ultramarine black back into it. So sometimes you just have a little journey before you get the color. All right, so I like that. That needs to be, it's just too sweet, so I'm going to smear some of this in here. That's the technical term. I'm smashing some of this in here so that it's more harmonious. See, these two now are friends. They got to be friends. Okay, and then, so we've got cool shadows going. In fact, I'm going to contaminate this one and gray this down just a little bit. There we go. So that they're in the same family. It still feels a little too yellow. I'm going to push that aside. Better clean my knife first. Okay. And then just add a touch of this to that. There we go. I want to save the warm mixture down here for the punches. A little more white. Okay, let's get painting. All right, so that's a good light, medium, and dark. Okay. So what size brush? I was so used to working on the mural that I was going for the big one. Well, you always want to use a brush that's as big as possible, but still comfortable. You don't want to use too little of a brush unless you want lots of tiny little strokes, and in that case, go for it. I think this one's a little too small. I feel like Goldilocks right now, but I gotta find the right brush. Okay, this is good. Why did I pick this one? It's a little bit bigger. It's got a filbert edge to it. That means it's rounded off on the tip. And so it's just big enough to block some stuff in and not be too detail tidy. All right, so let's block in the darks first. I'm going to use a little bit of medium just to wet my brush. And where do I see some of the dark parts of the clouds? Oh, some down here. And I'm just going to put in one basic tone, and there'll be other colors in there later, but I want to get it based in. Where else do I see some dark? Why did I start in the middle of the painting? I mean, you can start from top to bottom. You can do it systematically from left to right. And you can also do it the Shannon way, and that's because I felt like it. And the other thing is, too, I always tell people that you always start with the things that you know you can do, and then you sneak up on the things that scare you, and by the time you get there, you can do them. And if you can't, well, you'll have all this stuff under your belt, so you'll have built some more confidence. I was seeing all kinds of things in these clouds. So I'd encourage you to get on Twitter and Twitter me and let me know, what do you guys see in these clouds? And if you don't see anything yet, Twitter me about that too. Oh, you don't know how to reach me? Okay. All you have to do is Twitter me at Shannon Grissom. You'll find me. Okay, so there's some dark here, some dark here. The value change up here is very, very light. So I'm going to keep the darker tones here and down here as well. Am I following the reference photo exactly? Nah, it's going to be just a guide. Okay. And then down at the bottom, it's a little bit lighter down there. But I'm going to overstate it because I'll tend to blend it away. There's these really cool clouds that look like flying saucers. I can't remember what they're called. Oh, you know what? On a hot summer day, and you're painting outside, you get bugs in your painting, but it's just really weird to be in the studio and have that happen. Excuse me while I scrape this out. All you have to do is just scrape them out of your... There we go. Not supposed to live there. Okay. All right, so let's see, where were we? We were adding more shadows to these clouds. And they were lit from above, so that kind of makes it easy. I'm just roughing these shapes in. I'm not using a lot of medium, I'm using more paint than usual. I got to tell you, doing a mural is a trip because you're painting in front of, you're painting live in front of a lot of people, and so if you've watched a show before, you know that there are certain stages of the painting where the painting doesn't look like anything. In fact, you wonder if it's ever going to look like anything, but then eventually it pops. So you got to learn to be pretty thick-skinned and be able to leave a work in progress for, sometimes if it's a huge project, for a considerable amount of time before it's done. Okay, that looks pretty good there. That's enough. That's enough dark. I think we'll put in some of the lighter tones. Let's see, do I want to just throw in a little over here? All right, so the rest of it I think needs to be a little bit lighter. I'm going to use the same brush, wipe it off. I love the clouds. I love looking at clouds. It reminds me of reaching for your dreams and just going for it. Okay. Speaking of reaching for your dreams, so we're setting up the show and getting the shoot ready. This is one of those Rosanna Dana moments where we're getting the show ready to get it set up, and the cameraman's working on the drapery. All of a sudden, and this it really does have a connection. He was reaching for something, and I was talking about reaching for dreams. Ripped out, totally blew out. It ripped his pants, just trying to get this set. So here he is working the camera with his legs crossed. This has been one shoot here. Okay, I know I got sidetracked. It happens. All right, so we're putting a lighter tone here. I mean, come on, guys. You can't tell me you don't think of funny things when you paint, too. Well, I hope you do. Better than thinking sad things. Okay. Well, sometimes I think sad things. I look at it, and it's just really not going the way I want it to, and I just have to let it go and let it dry and know that I can go back in and fix it. And if I can't fix it, and it's just one of those days, there's always the bulldozer at the landfill. You know what? I ought to do one of those 50, instead of 50 ways to leave your lover, 50 ways to recycle a painting that doesn't work. I'm not going to sing, don't worry. But you could cut them up, make bookmarks out of them. If you don't have too much texture on them, they are canvas. You can recover your chairs. Too much texture is not a good idea, though. It's just not real comfortable. Okay, so I'm putting in a lighter gray here. All right, a little more light gray here. All at the very top is considerably lighter. And I'm going into the blue and softening some of these edges here. I have that song stuck in my head now. Sometimes I'll cut off, let's say you do a big painting and it doesn't work, but you have a small section that's beautiful. Well, cut it out and re-stretch it. That's always a good thing. Give it new life. All right, this is very nebulous up here. I love that. It's one of those wow man kind of things. I'm just scribbling. It's very fun. This is a totally different formation here, or it's breaking up, and this has got more form. All right, so I could go all over the place, but I really do need to get back back to some structure. So we're going to work on this these center two clouds first and see what we can do about giving them some form. A little lighter here. These need to just kind of get smushed. So what I'm doing is blending right into the blue. And I'm scrubbing it in there so that it doesn't have the hard edges. There we go. A little more hair. You know what? I need to mix some of that blue. And one of the things people worry about is running out of paint and worried that they can't make the same color again. You can, and if you can't, then I'll show you what to do. So how did I make this blue? I had a little bit of, because I realized we've got this big hole there and I need to have some of this blue on hand. Yeah, you thought this was going to be structured and organized, but must be your first time watching the show, because that's not what's happening. Okay. All right, okay, I was mixing. You know, sometimes I even embarrass myself. Okay, didn't think that could happen, did you? All right, so we have some ultramarine blue and some quinacridone violet. I like that. Tone down the blue just a little bit, and a little bit of white. Do I grab the straight white or do I grab some crooked white? No, I'm going for the straight white. That's too much. I just want a little bit. There we go. Oh, that's nice. And it's good for up here, and I just set some of that aside and add some white to it for that little area. There we go. There, now if I need to, well, maybe a little more. Now if I need to put some blue down, I've got it made. All right, getting a cleaner brush for that. Scruffy brush. Let's see how close we are. Oh, that was good. It's a little more violet than what I had, so I'll add a little blue to it. But it'll work. A little darker too. So you just adjust. So you don't have to have the exact same color. Adds a little interest. It's not going to stick out like a sore thumb, hopefully. Okay, that's better. Now when I put that over the top, it'll be fine. So I'm going to next switch gears again and go to the whitest white, the brightest spots on these clouds, and overstate them, because what happens in the blending process is that I tend to overblend, and that's not something that happens to everybody, but I know that I have that trait, and so I compensate for it. It's like if you golf a certain way and you got to stand a little crooked to make the ball go straight. It's the same kind of thing. It is. Okay. So I'm putting in, bottom line is, and I'm putting a lot more white down than I would need to, because I get blend happy. All right, so where did I see that huge bright white? Right here on this edge. I know it looks invisible now because I'm painting white on white. It's going to look invisible for a while. Not using a lot of medium, pretty thick right here. I want something to be able to grab onto when we're blending. Okay, where else do I see it? And this is actually a little systematic. I do have some structure. Okay, so there's some light right here. And I'm going to do all this at the same time. It's expeditious because you don't have to clean your brush. And it also, if you get distracted, this keeps you from, as long as you stay on track and just look for these items and don't stop until you see them, then you keep on track. Does it happen all the time? No. Okay. Now that's light, but that's not bright, bright. And let's see, there's really bright here, and I think I want to punch that up already. I'm just going to go straight into a little bit of this, because I can't help it. A little bit of this. Remember how I was going to keep this clean up here? That just so goes away once I start painting. I mean, that's the intent, to keep this whole mix, these pure up here. But, in the real world, once I get into the painting session, I forget. All right, so I add a little bit of warmth there. Because you know what? Orange is opposite of blue on the color wheel. So this is just going to be so, they really are happy. I mean, they have this vibration that's happy together. It's like two people in love. It's just cool. Okay, orange and yellow. All right, so that's good. We got some light there, light there. We'll shove a little up right here. And then the tops of these clouds have it. A little bit right here. And I'm going to warm this up a little. And I'm just going over the tops. Trying to keep my brush out of that gray mixture down there. It's a little hard because the brush is big, but I'm not switching at this point. Because otherwise I'd get too focused into details. I don't want to do that yet. All right, so it's light up here. There's a punch there. A little bit of light down here too. That's cool. Where do I see some more? I know it might be hard to see at this point in time, but it will start popping. This has some light, but doesn't necessarily have some bright, so I'm not gonna use that there. I'm gonna show some restraint. I really am. I know. You'll believe it when you see it. Oh, look at that yellow, orange next to that blue. That's just so happy. Okay, a little more there. Yep, that's good. Do I want to push it with the little right here? Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Let's get some other light in here. We had the medium. Yeah, we need this. That's good. Clouds take a lot of finesse, a lot more piddling around than you'd think that they would need. A little bit of light here. Some more light down at the bottom here. I'm going to start in the middle, and then as the brush runs out of paint, I'll go to some of these thinner areas and just go right over the blue. I love finding shades in clouds. I hope you're twittering me. Okay, so in my original drawing, this didn't veer off there, and I just went way out of what I was doing. But I mean, they're clouds. It doesn't matter what shape they have. Although I am concerned, I am conscious of, not concerned, but conscious of the composition. But that didn't hurt it anything, so I'm leaving it. Now some of these we'll have to throw some blue right over the top in order for that to work. So I'm just going to grab my blue brush as we're up here, a little darker color. Throw some of that in. And throw some of this over the top. There we go. Love all that gray and the variations. Oh, I'll throw some blue over the top too, but I want to get the rest of these clouds blocked in. Because there's definitely some holes in here that need to be rediscovered. But I don't want to, I could spend all day on this one cloud and I need to keep moving. All right, I think we need a little variation in this one. So I'm going to add a little dark over here even though I don't see it. But I don't want it to be top heavy, so I'm only putting it down at the bottom. Hey, I was on Twitter and all of a sudden, City TV down south, I got a Twitter, and they were actually tweeting and watching me at the same time, which is so cool. So get on Twitter, talk to me, tell me what you'd like to see. All right, I think I softened these edges enough. That's good. Do need to add a little bit of blue, but I'm just going to put some in over the top. And then I got to let it go, which you can tell I've not done that yet. I'm still playing with it. Okay, I'm going to blend this. The cool thing is that when you step back, you get to see all these shapes and abstract things and heaven knows what in these clouds. And that I don't even see while I'm painting them. I don't see them till later if you're watching the show. Okay, that's enough for that one. Let's give this one some form. So we need a lighter gray here, and I got to remember which brush has what on it. You get so many of these going. Okay, so we got a little, that's not light enough. I mean, that's not dark enough. There we go. And a little bit of this light here. And I'm putting this same thing here. We're going to blend into that. Being careful not to do a straight line. It's you know, it's natural to want to tidy things up, but these really aren't very tidy. Okay, some light there. Grab some of this light. They really do have some, or these particular clouds do have some form. And I want to capture that. So I'm going to put this down, and then we'll blend it and see where we can go with that. And I'm stepping back. Okay, they're starting to look like torn paper. We're getting close. So what I'm going to do is take a brush, wipe it, and then do some blending. Get the whole thing blended so that it's just a blur, and then reinstate. It's like you gotta, you know, some of the things you can't get attached to right away. You really need to, you know, there's some things that are beautiful that you might need to blend away and then put stuff over the top to really make it pop. So that's what I'm doing. I'm wiping my brush and blending this together. Same thing with down here. Now, I already told you that I tend to overblend, so I'm trying to do this and leave it alone. We'll see how that works. I didn't even cover the canvas here, so let's add a little gray right there. And what's going on with this one? This is a little more subdued. A little darker in value. More light up at the top. And you know what? I need to throw in a little bit of blue because it's just boring. You see how I was really not careful about the shape? It's okay. Just put it down. I mean, unless you were really trying to get a specific shape, then just do it. Okay, so we've got that going on. This one's almost covered. Throw some blue in here and some gray. And I'll just blend the rest of these and we'll start reinstating everything. So it really is a process. It's not, there are some people that, I do my work in lots of layers, and there are some people that can get it done in one shot. I've never been able to do that. I see some painters, it's really cool the way they approach a canvas, is they pretty much start from left to right, and it's just like a swarm of locusts, because it's just they start with nothing and they just go, and everything is a finished statement as they go. I tend to cover the whole canvas first, and then go back in and piddle some more, and then piddle some more, and then piddle some more, and then I'm done. So that's the swarm of locusts are a more direct way of painting, and mine's definitely indirect, lots of layers. No, there's no swarm of locusts school of painting, although maybe there should be. I'd be in the goofball school, that's for sure. Okay. I used to take myself way too seriously. Now I only sometimes do. Okay, so I'm throwing some light over the top of these clouds. Right there, just throwing it in. I'm not applying a lot of pressure. This is more like a little fog bank kind of thing. It might not have been the day I took the picture, but it looks like it now. And I'm going to blend this all together. I'm going to get a dry brush and kind of blend the rest of that too. Okay, so it's still in the half bizarre stage, but that's all right. We're getting closer. I do want to ground this thing by putting in a little bit of landscape, but first, before I do that, I will do some blending, some more blending. Okay, so one thing about this is that I'm going to stay away from this edge here, because I want to keep that a hard edge. So we're talking soft and hard edges. This is going to be a hard edge where this cloud is on top of this, so that's a hard edge here. Bottom edge will be softer, so I'll do more blending in there. But when I start blending, I'll start with all the lights first. Keep my brush clean. This doesn't have any paint on it. And I wipe, blend and wipe, blend and wipe. There's a little rhythm you develop. Just like in golf. Okay, I have to leave that alone. I've pretty much overblended that. So that's done. I can move over here. This, I'm getting rid of some of my harder edges. Softening that a little bit. That's happy. Wow, okay. This brush is so old, but I love it. But as I'm painting, it's flaking off. That's not a good thing to end up in your painting. But the bristles are still good, so I'm using it. Dang, it was a great brush. That's such a bummer. Sometimes you'll see, it's like the people that put tape on their glasses. Hey, you know what? If it works for you, go for it. Oh, that was okay. I know I should get a new brush, but you know what? Sometimes you have old things that you're attached to that you really shouldn't be, but they make you happy. Okay, I'm going to blend this. Got this little, there is a break in these clouds. I should actually throw some blue in here. But again, I really will get to some of that. I do have to ground it. I could do totally sky, but this one needs to be grounded, I think. The mural that I'm doing at Technova is not grounded at all. It's like you're at 50,000 feet looking on the top of clouds. It's a trip. I gotta tell you, painting something that's 12 feet by 48 is sure a good workout too. Okay, ooh. I started seeing a dog hair in this. Like a kid, I get distracted in little shapes and stuff. Okay. Woohoo! All right, so this needs a little separation here. Yeah. All right, let me quickly throw in some hills. These are not I don't know. They're there. Oh, and by the way, these clouds were on the golf course. I keep bringing up golf, but it was just this. I was out at San Juan Oaks. It was a beautiful day out there, just an amazing day. And I never take pictures when I'm golfing. I do not take pictures. I'm not thinking about art. I'm thinking about golf. But I was playing with the slowest people you ever played with in your life, and so I got my camera phone and I'm like, snap, snap. I had time to snap a lot. And I'm a beginner, so if they're slow, it was slow. Okay, so I'm going to make a little bit of, wow, a little bit of hills here. So I'm taking some Cad Red light, and I'm going to throw in a little bit of permanent green. Make a nice brown there. Add a little bit of white to that. Okay, so that's very red, not gold enough. So I'll move some of that over, because otherwise I'll still add a lot of white to that just to get it where I want it. And grab some white. There we go. Cad Yellow Deep. Let's see what that looks like. Probably not gold enough. So a little bit, just a little bit of Indian yellow. Now, if you had some straight yellow ochre, that would probably do it. I didn't bring it today. Wow, I just mixed some blue in here, and that made a great neutral, and that might work. That was totally on accident. You got to go with these happy accidents. Okay, I'm getting a cleaner brush for this. Still, what am I looking for? Another filbert. That's good. Might be too big, but I'm going to use it anyway. I'm pushing it. Okay, let's just throw in a little, yeah, that's good. And there's some trees, but you know what? I don't want to put those in. I was not in a tree mood. So we'll just throw in a little red. Now, what does that have to do with anything? Well, it really doesn't. I just like red. Red is, I knew that this would complement that blue up here. So it was, God, do I have another bug here? You must die. Okay. Sorry about that. It just had to go. We cannot have bugs in the painting. A little brush hair now and then, that's fine, but bugs, no. Okay, where was I? All right, this really complements the blue, and that's why I put it in. There really was some logic there. All right, I'll throw in some light. And I may just throw some trees over the top just to kind of break this up. And I'm not going to put any detail here because I really want to kind of finish the clouds and get some more detail there. Just throw in a little of this. And the further back should be lighter. Maybe a little, probably shouldn't make it brighter, but I just couldn't help it. I had to throw some of that in. All right, a little more red. I mean, nobody but us knows what's going on down here. And we'll throw in some, I'm going to get some permanent green, which will look like it's totally jarring at this point. Mix that with a little bit of this red color and ground this down here. Oops, that was a little too much. There we go. And I'm just throwing in some abstract shapes just to ground this thing. Now, if you want to kind of make some tree shapes or some sort of foliage, you could scribble up like that. Make it look like something was growing down here. But I didn't. So if you want to change your mind, throw this in right over the top. I'm doing more of a mesa rather than the hills that were there. Okay, that's a good base. So what would I do to put this over the top? Throw in a little bit of light. All right, I just throw some light over the top so that push this back a little bit. Some more hills here. But I really am going to leave this vague because I want to finish this session by really punching up this hair. So we're going to ground these guys into the... There we go. All right, so now it's time to step back and say, okay, you've got a good start on the clouds. It's by no means a finished painting, but where can we go to really punch it in? And I think it really, in this case, it really has to go with throwing in some of the darker darks and the lighter lights. So what would I do? Let's add, and we don't want to do the same color that we've had in here already. We want to punch it up a little more. So I'm thinking, got to be some red. And you know what? I want to change the shape of this cloud, so all you have to do is just blend that away a little bit. There you go. Love that. Just anytime you don't like something, you can blend it away or paint over it. There. Now when I let this dry and I go back into it, I can add the hills the way I want. For now, I'm going to leave them alone and put in, we need some red in the clouds. I mean, do I see it in the reference photo? No. Yeah, not even. But I think it'd be fun. So I'm grabbing some. So then I decide, do I want to add a cool red or a warm red? I'm thinking of pushing it and really going for a warm red, but I think I'll try a little of both. So here's a cool red. It's a dirty brush, so it ought to be all right. Let's throw in a little of this. So it turned into a violet. I don't think this is the right brush, but let's see. Maybe if I play with it a little, let's see if that'll work. Okay, so it's darker here. And I'm not going to put it everywhere. I'll put it in a few spots, but not everywhere, because I don't want it to be the same. Now, I went into the cool red, but I also went into this Pearlin Scarlet. Ooh, yeah, that's awesome. And I'm going to throw in a little down here too. I don't think I have enough paint on my brush down here. Ooh, that's gorgeous. Let's add a little blue. See, you see things happen and he's like, wow, let's do some more of that. So we'll throw in a little more blue down here. Maybe even a ridge of blue down here. Oops. Oops, that was too much. So I'm just going to blend it away. More wispy type clouds. What else do I want to do? I have to stand back because I haven't been back from it enough to see where I really want to go. I think the biggest thing is there needs to be the darker little bits right here at the bottom. And then the other thing is that just you get some nice little, oh, that's good. This needs some separation. But I think what these little areas here are not such a sharp edge. So we'll blend those. After I add just a little bit of violet here. And a little bit of, I didn't go for that warm red yet. Woohoo. There we go. All right, so now what I need to do is blend these little edges. Push this up into here so that there's not this hard edge. See how that just started to make that work? Push this up a little. This wasn't such a hard edge either, I don't think. I kind of like, maybe we don't, I may put this, just have clouds and not ground the whole thing at all. So that's the other thing, is you go through the whole painting and you decide, oh, I want to change this. I decided to go in another direction. That's what's just so cool. Okay, a little lighter there. You can throw in some light over the top. Now it's time to punch some things up. Oh, just nebulous stuff. Let's wipe the brush before I do that. Oops, never did get around to this guy. He just kind of goes in a circle here. A little bit of that here, there. These are actually joined, so I'm just a little bit of brush, just dirty, light brush, sort of kind of connecting. Just going right over the top. I hope you get a sense of this is how you block in clouds. It's not a finished painting by any means, but it gives you a good start. And where would you go from here? For me, I would continue blending, and then I'd let it dry. And I'd do the same thing over, only I'd really punch it up. I'd put in more darker darks and lighter lights. And by the time you're through, you'd be in the clouds. You'd be on cloud 9. So thanks for watching Give Your Walls Some Soul. I hope you Twitter me. And I'm Shannon Grissom. I'll see you next time.